Oh! Nope, sky isn't falling. Having one night, one last cigarette for the night. So it dawned on me with my early morning doctor's appointment that I was out of milk, so I ran down to the Maverick and grabbed a half gallon of milk. Well, anyways, there's this, at best 25-year-old named Kaylee, who's working behind the register at the Maverick, running the graveyard shift because, today's woman can do anything a man can. No, you can't. Can a woman throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball? No. Can man give birth? No. So, okay, we'll stop right there. But anyways, I started talking with her. And I said, you're a 20-something. She goes, am I 20? I said, you're 20 plus years old. She says, yes. I said, okay. I said, what does your age group look for in a guy? Oh, that depends. I didn't even ask her what it depends on, but there's your opening door. But anyway, she said she had a boyfriend who was 30. The second thing she said was, but he has some growing up to do. So you know what I said to her? Do you feel that you have some growing up to do? She goes, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I want to hear that too. So she kind of gives me this look like, am I wanting to pick a fight with her or something? No, I don't. But the point I'm trying to make here is anytime you hear a woman talking about her ex-boyfriend, ex-fiance, ex-husband, it's always his fault, followed by negative, negative, negative. Right? Right. And guys, we generally don't talk about our ex-wives, fiancés, or girlfriends, or maybe we'll just keep it short. Yeah, man, she was just a bitch. It just didn't work out too well, and I just don't want to talk about it. Okay, all right, yeah. But guys don't go into these long-winded diatribes about all the negative, 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 negative. Now, one thing about me, and this is a fact, I never, ever say anything negative or bad about my ex-wife because, to tell you the truth, I don't really know what is negative or bad about my ex-wife or what growing up maybe she has to do. I met her when she was 17 and I was 19. Right? And now I'm 49 and she's 47. So this month we met 30 years ago. This month we would have been married 29 years. So if there's anybody who knows her, or if there's anybody on this planet that knows me, inside and out, would be me to her and her to me. So, through all the maturation processes and all the pluses and the minuses and the ups and downs and the ins and outs of 30 years, 3 decades, I can't, if somebody put a gun to my head and say something bad about your ex-wife, that's factual, or I'm going to pull the trigger in 5 seconds, well, I'm probably going to die. So then you ask yourself, well, then why did you separate and divorce? Because we didn't want it to turn into something of finger pointing or something negative. We wanted to preserve the beauty of the union. It's sort of like, retire after you've won the Super Bowl. Don't play that one more year that's injury laden and you embarrass yourself. The old saying, get out when the going's good. Get out while you're still on top. I always come across like I have all the answers. I don't. But I'm a very intelligent human being. And I've lived through numerous lifetimes within my 50 years. And it's put me in a position to know a lot and to have experienced a lot. But I don't have anything negative to say about my ex-wife. And I don't think she really has anything negative to say about me. I don't know. You guys would have to ask her. But that's always how women approach things, I mean, you never overhear 2 women boasting about their boyfriend, fiance, husbands. It's always his shortcomings, or they're making fun of him in some way. I never understood that. And it's not just now, it's kind of been through the ages. I mean, even back in the day, you know. But you never hear about women pointing out their own faults, or where they fucked up, or they screwed up, or they need to work on some things or make some changes. They always have a way out, which is nothing new. But God, is it tiring, you know? Seriously? Jesus, no accountability. It's always the other person's fault, you know? But I don't know, you know? I just think that with all this pedestalization and favoritism that goes to the fairer sex and all this other stuff, it's just so disappointing, you know? I mean, I think it takes a real human being, man or woman, to admit that they've made a mistake, or that they were wrong, or they need to atone for something, or they need to make changes, you know? That's part of the growth process, you know? What's the first step in sobriety? You know, God grant me the serenity to accept, you know, my situation and to, you know, make the changes necessary, you know, and grant me the serenity to do it. But the first thing is you got to admit is that you have a problem. If you can't admit that you have a problem, then you can't solve it, right? But that's always how women are, you know. Tell me about your boyfriend. Well, you know, he's tall, but he lost his job. Okay. Or he's 30, but he has a lot of growing up to do. Okay. But then, like I said, Kaylee, do you feel that you have some growing up to do? Well, yeah. Okay. So you both have some growing up to do. You know, male or female, old or young. When I meet somebody like Chris Wood, who stayed this weekend, he admitted to me, he says, you know, when I was a younger guy, I was a complete fuck up, man. Just a complete fuck up. But I've worked so hard to, you know, change my life. But I still consider myself a fuck up after all these years. But I know I've made a lot of strides and I've done a lot of great things in my life. And I have, you know, a large bank account and this and this and this. And I've raised 2 stepsons. But I still don't see myself as a complete human being. Do you think you'll ever hear a woman say something like that about herself? Out loud? On November 20, never. Please. But guys, as you know, and women who are in my circle who are sensible and logical, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm just so fucking tired of all these memes and these posts from these whack bitches who just, all they want to do is like, you know, I should be the air that you breathe, and, you know, you should wipe my ass and enjoy doing it and cater to my needs, and anything less than that is personally unacceptable. And I would think it would be unacceptable to you too, because I'm your queen. Now I'm going to treat you like the court jester. I'm not going to treat you like a king, but I'm the queen, you see. Well, if you're my queen, shouldn't I be your king? Right? No, that's not how it is. So, you know, like I said, I'm not going to live to see the day. But one day, women are going to wake up and realize, oh my God, we really screwed up. You know, and all men are wearing dresses or have converted to some new age religion or a level of sexuality we haven't even crossed the path of yet. But, you know, it's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, we're going against the laws of nature here, people. And I think it's high time that, you know, women start taking their fair share of responsibility and blame, because there's plenty to go around, you know. And anybody who stands up and says, you know, hey, it's my mistake and I'll correct it, and I'm sorry, I was wrong. You know, you got to honor that. Or if somebody, you know, tells you the truth, even if it's not what you want to hear, you got to honor them for telling you the truth, you know. But the way women are today, you people are ladies, you're so fucked up. You have no idea. when you're dealing with an intelligent, mature, traveled, knowledge man such as myself, and I hear you talk, and I see the way you act and what you do, if you could see the world, if you could see yourself through my eyes with my brain, I think you might actually be a little bit humbled and embarrassed by it. It's really putrid. It's pathetic. And it's not all of you. And again, my friends who hear this on Facebook, no, none of this is targeted at you. These are just things that I'm putting out there. Not because I'm an angry, bitter old pill of a man. It's just, I'm forced to see this shit. And it's, I data process. I use my brain, and the only conclusions I can come up with is that you ladies are just a bunch of narcissistic weirdos who live in the clouds and have no understanding of what the meaning of life is all about, I got news for you. It's not all about you. And when you take a shit, it smells every bit as bad as mine. Sometimes worse. But just keep going with it. I think it's amusing because it's not long before I shuffle off this mortal coil and I won't have to deal with all this nonsense and battle of the sexes and shit. I was fortunate enough to have a wonderful wife who's still a wonderful good friend, who carries my last name on with dignity, who gave me the only child I'm ever going to have and the only child that she's ever going to have. Classy lady. And we saw that in each other all those hundreds of thousands of years ago, And we lived 5 lifetimes in those 30 years. And I don't think either one of us would trade a day of it, because it was us against them. It was never us against each other. And that's what people today clearly think is how it is. It's like whoever's going to, bend their knee, or in the game of chicken, when 2 cars come at each other, who's going to be the first one to swerve? They're the chicken. Well, these people today are so fucking hard-headed, nobody swerves. Then there's a head-on collision and everybody dies. So who's the winner? No one. So if one of you ruins the relationship, no one's the winner. It was just wasted effort, money, time, love, feelings, plans, wasted. Right? So why did we do it in the first place? Well, apparently one person believed in something and the other person didn't. Right? So I don't see any hope at all for humanity moving forward in relationships because the expectations are totally unrealistic. No one's willing to bend. No one has any level of tolerance or patience for things. And that's the first thing that you have to have in a relationship between a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, is tolerance and patience and forgiveness and communication. If the first sign of conflict or strife or trouble comes down the pike and you want to blame the other person, or just, forget this, and just pack up and leave, you're going to have a long, hard, frustrating, disappointing life. And that'll carry over into your employment and your personal friends and your relations with your family and everything that you do. So I think it's sad, but there's a reason why I'm alone right now and living alone. I'm not alone in my life. I have good people in my life. Maybe I don't see them every day, but I live alone because I'm not going to allow any garbage to enter this house or in my heart. I've done that before, and it almost killed me. And I'm not going to make that mistake again. So every time I think, why aren't I attractive to women anymore? Why haven't I met anybody? It's because in today's world, my man, you're too special for the average bitch. So maybe it's going to take a few years. But I do know that I have some wonderful people in my life, and I love each and every one of you. But sure, it can get lonely. But it beats the alternative, because I've seen what the alternative can be. And I'm not talking about my ex-wife. Some of you know who I'm talking about. And I learned a lot from that. So